Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Jets Radio. This is one of your hosts, Tyson Roush. Election day, so we're going to keep this show fairly short. We wanted to come on and just talk quickly about the Joe Douglas press conference. So at Talk Jets Radio, Instagram and Twitter. Let's Talk Jets Radio on YouTube. We want to thank everybody for joining us on YouTube. I mean, the support's been overwhelming. We're doing live streams, so Monday night, Jets Patriots, I guarantee you complete chaos on our live stream. So please check us out there. Mr. Primetime, how you doing, man?
Hey, we don't even have to wait until Jets Patriots because the fun never stops with this team. Tuesday night, of course, they saved the press conference for tonight. Again, I'm just glad that I had a few hours to kind of cool down from Joe Douglas. From the press conference to the Michael Kay interview, there's a lot to dissect from today.
Well, I mean, you can start off because I think we're going to have complete opposite reactions to this. I
actually think we're going to see eye to eye on a little. Yeah, so I'll start with the disclaimer because I know that I'll start with the obvious. I know that no matter what Joe Douglas said today, I think most fans were going to be pissed to some extent, right? We're looking for the pound of flesh. It was essentially a no-win situation. You know, yes, there was a lot of things that he had to hold himself accountable for, and he did that, you know, to a large extent. I was pleased with what he said in regards to the Robbie Anderson situation, how he owned that mistake as far as miscalculating the market. I think it was unrealistic to expect him to throw Adam Gase under the bus, even though, you know, a lot of us I think were hoping he would do that. But my biggest issue is that he continued to voluntarily go out of his way to say that Adam Gase is a part of the solution. Not only is he a problem, but no. Taking it a step further, he's a part of the solution now. So to credit him for the job that he's doing with keeping the team together, crediting how hard, you know, he said the dreaded line, everyone's working hard in practice. He was owning everything almost to a fault, where once again, it seems like this is the Adam Gase show and everybody else is just a puppet along for the ride, or they're just in this together. Either way, right now, it's hard to take away from what Joe Douglas said today. It's hard to take away the idea that Adam Gase is suddenly on the hot seat, that he doesn't have more power in terms of the hierarchy within this organization than Joe Douglas.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that to me, that was a press conference for a man that has no power. And this is the problem when you have the head coach and the general manager both reporting to the owner. It just shows that Joe Douglas is powerless. He was a team guy. He took responsibility for things he did wrong. And he's like, listen, I'd like to criticize the coach. There's some things wrong, but you know what? That's not my job. I'm not his boss. And that, to me, just exemplified the problem with the power structure here, the problem with having your head coach hire your general manager. All the warts were exposed. It just shows that Joe Douglas has no power, dude. He's responsible for the personnel. But he took ownership of the mistakes he made, and he has no say over the coach. He has no power, dude.
Can I just quickly, again, go back to the same question that I've asked you the last few nights, which is when Adam Gase was hired, he didn't have the power to fire the sitting general manager. He didn't have that power to do that. Okay, the general manager was here for 4 years. Adam Gase gets hired, and then within 4 months, the guy that you just entrusted with $100 million in your draft, you just fired him because of the recommendation of Adam Gase. So now Joe Douglas is in your building. He's well respected in almost every single football circle that's out there. Most experts think, you know, he's a guy that you could trust to lead your program. So why can't he take the same approach? And I'm not even saying he has to do it in the media. Behind closed doors with ownership, why can't he take the approach that it's him or me? Joe Douglas has 4 years left on his contract. There is no way that ownership can possibly side with Adam Gase if there's any kind of rift. There is no way they would win that battle with anybody. They would not allow Adam Gase to pick another general manager. That would be crazy.
Or they
would be destroyed.
Or he could have done that, and they could have told him, listen, we will make a change at the end of the season. We're just going to ride this out with Adam Gase. He could have done that already. We don't know if he did it or not, but to me, he came up with a guy like saying, listen, he could have made his recommendation. Say, listen, things aren't going right here. I'm going to take the blame for things I did wrong. I'm not going to take the blame for the coach because the coach he's his own person. He doesn't take his own blame. And that's the problem. It's the reporting structure. Kevin, the ultimate problem is ownership.
If that's really the case, though, I don't understand why Joe Douglas would, you know, take all the blame today. And it's not even that he had to throw Adam Gase under the bus. Why not just say, hey, you know, being asked about Adam Gase in the future, at 0-8 right now, how do you evaluate the second half? I mean, give an honest answer that, we all should be evaluated. We all should be on the hot seat right now based on the results. Nobody should be safe right now, and we'll evaluate that at the end of the year. Why take it further and say that he's part of the solution going forward, and that he's doing a good job? He cannot fire the coach directly, but indirectly, he can absolutely impact Adam Gase's job. You cannot convince me otherwise of that, because we saw Adam Gase influence
but he doesn't. He's not going to
make that happen.
That's like, yeah, but dude, if you're on the same level as your coworker,
somebody needs to get in Chris Johnson's ear to fire Adam Gase, because he's not going to do it on his own.
No, but
Joe Douglas is the only person that can possibly make that happen.
Is, how do you know he didn't already do that? And ownership is, to me, like, I understand you want to get mad at Joe Douglas, but the person you should be mad at is Chris Johnson. The problem is ownership. How did he know that Joe Douglas can say, listen, we're 0-8, the offense is going backwards, we're the worst team in football. I did give him some players, he's not using them right. Like, how do you know Chris Johnson's just not saying, listen, man, we understand. This is the same owner that after week 1 doubled down with the genius coach. That's the problem.
Did Joe Douglas today sound like a guy that wasn't backing his head coach entirely?
He sounded like a guy that just took blame for his own job. That's what he sounded like to me. He took accountability for his problems, nobody else's. That's what he sounded like to me. But we're going to bring on.
Okay.
We're going to bring on. We got a ton of people on hold. We're going to go to Mike in Jersey City. What's up, Mike?
No, what's up, guys?
How you doing, Mike?
You tell me.
I don't know. I guess I think my whole theory with West Coast Joe from when we hired him is starting to bear fruit. The closer and closer as the season goes on, as the complacency starts to dig in like its cleats and kind of just like a stagnant river, like just to hold there, where Gase just seems more and more untouchable, the more I think yes, he will be here in 2021. I mean, sure, if you want to go behind the good old, what else was he supposed to say? Whatever Joe Douglas had to say today. Was there really any conviction? Did you feel like it was just a blank? Okay, he's the future, or was there conviction behind it? But neither here nor there. I just feel like, as I keep saying, the more and more it goes on, the more chances he has of being the coach next year. And so and now we're also hearing Darnold is the future. Now I'd say Darnold not being the future is more likely than Gase actually retaining his job. I think that was just smoke and mirrors. I mean, there can't be any fathomable way that they actually think that they're going to get away with going 0-16 and then either trading back or just flat out not fucking drafting Trevor Lawrence. But as of today, my confidence of Gase getting fired, just sunk to a new low. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
I'll just say that one thing that kind of ties into both Sam Darnold and Adam Gase, which is that you can't really take anything from a lot of these quotes. I know we all want to overreact. I was kind of pissed off here in some of the things that were said. I give Joe Douglas credit for holding himself accountable in some areas, but at the same time, you want to start to see at least some signs that he's distancing himself from this head coach, and that we're not going to see this return for another year. I think we all expect a little bit more out of Joe Douglas as the culture guy, the football guy. He should know more than Chris Johnson, more than Adam Gase. This kind of losing culture that's permeating right now throughout this entire organization. I would think that Joe Douglas has higher standards than this. And so, maybe behind the scenes he's doing something. I didn't expect him to throw Gase under the bus today, but, to offer up the kind of support that he did, and, to say that he's a part of the solution going forward, and, to give credit for some of the progress that's been made, I thought that was a wasted opportunity. I think that at some point Douglas needs to put his foot down. He may not do it in the media, but at least behind closed doors, he really needs to put his foot down and just take ownership of this entire thing. He's a football guy. He's well respected in football circles. This needs to be his operation.
But it's not. They're on the same level. They both report to the owner. He doesn't have the ability to fire his coworker. So this is like if we
and Gase didn't have the ability to fire Maccagnan, and he made it happen.
But you know what?
He has no issue riding this out, though. That's the problem. He has no issue riding it out with Gase.
I mean, let's be honest here, though. When you see the photos on the side, like during practice, of like Chris personally going up to Gase and just having a conversation. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it just seems to me that, yeah, both of them kind of are on the same like level of seniority with Chris Johnson. Like, I just feel like Gase has as much power as Douglas, which shouldn't be.
This is the problem when the head coach hires the GM. This is what we all feared. So the GM doesn't have the power to make a change. He can make his recommendation behind the scenes. He can say, listen, our staff thinks that we need to make a change with the head coach, and ownership can say, you know what? You sit there and do your job. We make the final decision. We're going to do what we think best for our organization. Then you say, okay, thank you. And then you go back to your office and do your job.
So hold on. So
he's been a corporate guy. That's it.
So if the head coach has all this power, then why do you think he's not getting fired at the end of this year? Shouldn't he be the one to go then?
I'm saying that the final decision comes from ownership. So what Joe Douglas is going to do is what ownership tells him to do. He's going to be a loyal soldier to the owner. That's his job. So
or Joe Douglas can make their job a little bit easier by causing a little bit of a rift, like the same thing that Adam Gase did to get Mike Maccagnan fired. Yes, put it in their ear, because Chris Johnson's not just going to wake up and fire Adam Gase. He's not going to do it.
Kevin, listen, I understand you want Joe Douglas to make a media stink. If he goes to the owner like a professional and
I'm not even saying he has to make a media stink. Don't outright offer support out of your way.
If he goes to the owner and says, I have all these fundamental problems with your head coach, and they say, okay, we'll do what we think is best, then you go back to your office and do your job and shut your mouth. And that's what he's doing. He took blame for what he did wrong, and that's it.
And that's acceptable then. Okay.
And I honestly, I feel like that conversation has already arisen, where Joe Douglas probably did go to Chris like one or twice behind doors and be like,
Joe Douglas said today,
are we really sticking with this guy? And I really think Chris said, yeah.
Joe Douglas said today that they haven't had those conversations. They're not even focused on the end of the season yet. They'll talk about it when they get there. They're not even talking about the future of the head coaching position.
I want to know who this man was texting, because I don't think it was just the fucking, trading McClendon during the Indy game. I think this man was talking to fucking everyone and just like, yeah, Gase fucking sucks.
All right, Mike, we got to wrap this up. We got so many people on hold right now.
Absolutely.
Thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
Take care, man. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, we got Chris in Florida. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? I'm a young Jets fan. I just want to go ahead and say my JETS, Jets, and for everyone listening, make sure you hit these guys with a like and subscribe button on YouTube. Big fan, guys.
Appreciate it, man. So, what are your thoughts on the press conferences today from Joe Douglas?
Dude, I have stopped watching all the Jets games since what was it? It was after the Cardinals game. What was it? I was done watching all the Jets games, and then I said, I'll see this Joe Douglas conference, because, like everyone, when we first heard this guy, it brought some vote of confidence, and I hate that I even listened to it. I heard this guy, he had his speech, it sounded great, but then the moment the reporters went ahead and started sneaking in those attack questions, it just started to decrease my faith. And just to think, as much as I want to believe in Mr. Tomlinson for being such a good fan, God, I think Gase is going to be here next year. And as a young fan, it kills me, and it sucks. I don't think I'm going to watch NFL next year. I don't think I'm going to waste my time.
Yeah, listen, I mean, Douglas was able to do a good job, dodging some of the softballs from the mainstream media, but then the tone of the interview with with Michael Kay and Don LaGreca, that was completely different, and he really struggled to answer some of those questions. And again, I'll give him credit for owning some of the mistakes that happened, holding himself accountable. With the Robbie Anderson situation in particular, he owned that completely. But again, every single time that he was asked directly about Adam Gase, he wouldn't say a word, and he went out of his way to offer support countless times. So it's not even so much as just not supporting the guy. No. You're saying this is the guy that we have to go forward with, beyond this year into next year. So it didn't make sense, the kind of things that he was trying to say out there.
I definitely have to say he uses words poorly. I think if anything, if he wasn't trying to throw anybody under the bus, he did his due diligence on that. But I definitely think he chose his words poorly when it came to responding about Adam Gase and Sam Darnold. Me personally, I I still want to always believe that Sam Darnold is the future of the Jets. Hopefully these last 8 games could change everyone's mind, because for me, as again a young Jets fan, Sam Darnold was my franchise quarterback. This is the true starting lineup for a future team, and I'm going to watch this kid become the next big thing and be a part of my team. But when Joe Douglas goes ahead and confirms questions, especially about Adam Gase, I was just like, I see you're not trying to diss him, but at the same time, you chose your words to really put it on newspapers. You're going to watch the newspapers and all the media on websites, and it's going to just blow up into proportion. What do you guys think about that?
Well, again, I think that no matter what he said today, the media, the fan base, we were looking to attack him no matter what. I don't think anything that he could have possibly said that wasn't completely dodging the question would have been good enough. He did acknowledge again that Darnold didn't have enough talent around him. He accepted blame for Robbie Anderson. Just some of the other quotes, about Adam Gase and, just voluntarily offering that support. It just didn't sit well with me. I understand not trying to cause a rift or anything like that. And he may have said, some things to ownership in private. But at the end of the day, if you're the guy that's all about culture, the more and more that you defend this coach that everybody, with a brain can see cannot coach football, the more and more ridiculous that you look. And it's looking more and more like Adam Gase is the one that's in charge. He has all the power, and Gase is just, a puppet hanging along for the ride right now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. What is a question that you wish you had heard, though, that was not brought up at all? Something that really you wish somebody or one of the reporters would have asked.
Well, I think the one thing that they never ask is they never hold anybody accountable. Like, what are 3 things you need to see by the end of the season that says that this team is showing improvement? Like, there's never any kind of mandate. Like, we got to, I want to see this team win some games, or I want to see this offense improve and, not be 32nd in the league. Like, there's never any kind of, like tangible stuff they ever mandate for a team. It's always like, well, I want to see us work together and improve. Okay, well, what exactly are you trying to accomplish in the next 8 games? Do you want to try to win games? Do you want to try to improve your offense? Do you want to get more than 100 yards in the second half? Like, there's never any, tangible stuff. I hate that. Nobody gets held accountable for, actual production on the field, ever.
I agree. I think it's ridiculous that nobody is being put on the spot. I do think Joe Douglas brought up how he said everyone is frustrated, everyone was accountable, but he didn't specifically target anyone. And as a GM, you don't want to try and single anybody out, but you also want to single out at least a certain group. You want to say that, hey, clearly leadership isn't going anywhere. We keep talking about practice being great and everything, but where is it on the field? Clearly that either is a player issue or that's a coaching issue. And you kind of wish Joe Douglas didn't say something about that, saying coaching needs to be better or player contributing needs to be better. As far as him saying, I need to bring weapons on that, great. I'm glad you admitted that you effed up on that. I'm glad you admitted that Sam Darnold clearly wasn't receiving the care that you have made that promise to his parents. You had that 1 year, the first year of being in the Jets, clearly you had a bypass, but now the second year, great, your rookies are showing some content, but the players you already had that were great players, you're not seeing any high results of them. You can talk about all this, I traded good players for draft content, and you're hoping that the next 2 years are going to be even better picks, but what are you going to do with the players that are still showing that they are quality players? And you have this coaching staff that isn't bringing squad out of them. Even Greg Williams could have been called out about the defense. He talked about Quinnen Williams being a great thing. You didn't even speak about how your defense went from a high quality last year to almost dead last. It's an embarrassment, And again, I'm a young Jets fan, and my dad can only refrain to the early 90s. And it's sad. For me to enjoy the Jets, I have to go onto YouTube channels and watch teams of players that have already retired and are in the Hall of Fame. And it's sad. And all I can say is if I don't hear any spark about Adam Gase's job leaving this team, you can forget me. You can forget at least one Jet fan not watching next year, because it's a waste. Even if Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 pick and they go with him and they still say Gase is the coach, it's a complete boggish. It's garbage. It's a waste of my time, and it's a waste of my weekend, to be honest with you. And all I can say is I'm glad to hear you guys being able to say it out there. What a complete waste of shit. What a waste of money.
Chris, thank you for calling, man.
man.
We appreciate it. Phenomenal call. Yeah, great call, man.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night. All right, we're going to go to our good friend Matt in Philadelphia. What's up, Matt?
Our good friend, I appreciate it. It's been a long time since I talked to you guys.
I know you
What's
forgot
up, man?
about
How
us.
you
I know how you roll.
Let me tell you why I roll this way. You guys know I call the post game. Bob Wischusen, Marty Lyons, Dan Grassa. I call them after the games, and they usually disagree with me. They're paid by the Jets, and we have the similar views, so I don't really have a lot to argue with you guys about. So that's why I've been MIA for a little bit. But I always consume Let's Talk Jets content on YouTube. You guys are killing it, as always, taking it over. And you're speaking for the fans, so I appreciate it.
So what are your thoughts on this press conference today?
So this is what I'm pretty ticked off about. Last week, Bob Wischusen, before I got on the phone with Buttle and Grassa, said you can't look at this as a caller and say this is on Gase. There's no talent. This is not a Gase issue. And I respect Bob Wischusen. I usually agree with a lot of what he says on Twitter, but my God, it set me off because Adam Gase is so clueless. He's the worst coach in the league. And when Douglas said today that he's part of the solution, I pray to God in the back of Douglas's mind when he's saying that, he's thinking to bring us to a winless season so we get a draft pick and then we let him go. Because if this guy coaches next season one game, I'm going to be at the brink of picking a new team because that's just ridiculous. Nuts.
Well, in fairness, I guess, if we're looking at the history of Joe Douglas quotes, you can't really put too much stuff in what he said, as far as Jamal Adams being a Jet for life, among other things. So, I guess Adam Gase is, part of the solution, and, Sam Darnold's here to stay. He's our franchise quarterback. All those things probably mean nothing at the end of the year, sitting at 0-15, and you have a chance to draft Lawrence.
So, yeah, and I have two questions for you guys. Hopefully you can shed some light on it. When we signed Gase, when we brought Gase in, I remember a report saying that Christopher Johnson, probably the most clueless owner in football, not probably, for sure, is the most clueless owner in football, the little brother that knows nothing about the game. I heard a report that he would have separate meetings with the coach and the GM. So to go back on, I think it was Tyson's point, can't Douglas, who's sitting there with a 4-year contract, say, this effing guy's got to go?
Thank you.
He's not sitting next to him. You know what I mean? Because he's not sitting next to him in this meeting, which is normal across the league. You want to have the GM and the coach on the same page. But maybe we can use this ridiculous tactic that Christopher Johnson thinks is so brilliant to our advantage. Can Douglas see this and be like, what the hell is going on here? Get this guy out. He's ruining talent.
But Matt, see, we're assuming that he didn't say that. If he did say that, this is the same ownership after week 1 that came out and told us how great this coach is. To me, the problem is ownership. So they could be getting all the advice in the world. This is an ownership group that all it took was one phone call from Peyton fucking Manning to make us hire this clown. After all these guys told him that Mike McCarthy, other guys were better candidates. This is the same ownership that had Matt Rule in the building, and they're trying to make him inherit Greg Williams and Brant Foyer. Like, this is an ownership problem.
Yeah, it's so funny. They bring Matt Rule in. They say, we want you to be the coach, but you can't coach with your coaches. We can't let you work with the people that you work good with. We're going to bring a whole new staff for you. You work really good with this guy. He's in your coaching tree, but we don't want him. We don't want him helping our team. We're going to pick your coaches because you're not an NFL coach. Look at how disciplined that Carolina Panthers team is. Look at what Robbie Anderson is doing there. I don't want to talk about him because you guys know I was an advocate for Robbie going, actually, and I hate to admit it when I'm wrong, but I'm wrong on that. Pea Shooter Bobby is doing pretty well down there. But I did hit a big under on last Thursday night game. I took the under out of spite, and it hit on his receiving yards. But, I mean, guys, it's ridiculous. You hear Adam Gase on these post-game interviews. You get drilled by the media, and the guy never takes an ounce of blame. He's always saying, I can't wait till the receiving unit is all together, what we imagined all preseason, this whole unit healthy together. it never happens that way, Gase, Adam. It never happens that way. There's always injuries, and teams around the league always figure it out. We don't do that.
And that's what Don LaGreca went on an epic rant about it, as soon as he was done with the interview. Like, Sam Darnold goes on the show every week. He accepts blame for what he does wrong. Joe Douglas, he answers questions today, accepted all the blame. At what point, how often have we heard Adam Gase say, yep, that's on me, bad job play calling, I need to do a better job, more innovative offense, put guys in better position? You never hear that from him. It's, the play call was there, we have to execute it better. It's always something else, it's always somebody else, yet when these guys leave Adam Gase, they become stars. They become better players. So what does that tell you? Yet Joe Douglas, even today, he even said, what was the exact quote? It was about like the opposing defenses, they play our offense the same way every single week. And he used that to make a point that we need better players. Well, why not draw the conclusion that, hey, our coach maybe has a problem making adjustments? If the opposing defense has the same strategy every week and your offensive fucking guru coach can't make an adjustment to that, what does that tell you? It's him. You might need better players, but your coach can't adapt. He can't adjust. He gets nothing out of these guys. That's the biggest problem.
There's no consequences either. There's none. There's no consequences. Nobody's in fear of losing their job as a Jet player. There's no consequences. Nope. And another thing, guys, Wischusen goes on and says, it's not Gase. He has no talent. And in the next breath, he says, I've never seen someone like Chris Herndon fall off a cliff in 25 years of covering the Jets that had all that talent, and then it's gone. And
Matt,
here's that in two breaths.
But dude, here's the easy thing to do. Say, okay, Kevin and I talked about this on Sunday. It's like, all right, take this team. You have 22 starters. Name 3 that have gotten better this year. You can't. You have Quinnen Williams and Mekhi Becton, and there's nobody else is getting better. Nobody. The quarterback has gone backwards. You have the worst offensive football. It's a disgrace at this point. Like, you had a half of football where you got 4 fucking yards. And now you get 64. It's like, well, that's progress. 64 yards in a passing league. So, but Matt, thanks for calling in, man. We got 20 people on hold. We appreciate you calling, man. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, guys, and maybe, hey, if Biden pulls this out, which I'm not going to say who I voted for, but if he pulls it out, maybe our owner will become the owner of the Jets again, and Chrissy can go away. Try to look at the positives.
Have a good night.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Later.
Have a good night.
All right. Very busy phones here. We're going to go to our good friend Steve. Steve, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Been better.
Good. How you doing?
I've been all right. It's just okay. Let's just get down to business here. It's just today, when I watched some of the press conference, there were some things that I liked what Joe Douglas did, and there were some things I didn't like what he said. The things that I did like what he said was that he is accountable for his, especially with the whole thing with Robbie Anderson. Because now when you look at what Robbie Anderson is doing right now is he's honestly having the year that he had with us back in 2017. Now, the thing that does get me aggravated about Joe Douglas is that he says that he doesn't blame Gase for like the stuff that's going on, which honestly it is mostly his fault. And it's that yes, I did like the fact that he made his mistakes about that. Yeah, I made some tough decisions with some of the roster, but it's just absolutely crazy. And, to be 0-8 right now, it's just really, really hard. I mean, I love the Jets so much, but it's so hard to watch this football team.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, the thing that really pissed me off with Joe Douglas, and this, I mean, I've been critical of him because yesterday on our YouTube channel, I got attacked by criticizing Joe Douglas. His answer about Robbie Anderson is unacceptable to me. Because here's the problem. When you didn't trade him last year, the trade deadline, that right there is saying, okay, we're making a commitment to re-sign you. That's when that statement is made. Then to not understand what his value was, that's your fucking job. You had a whole year. From the trade deadline to the beginning of free agency, you had all that time to figure out what Robbie Anderson's value was. And you have him in the building, so you can understand what he's even asking for. I mean, to me, that was bullshit. It's just bullshit. He blew up in his face. He tried to – no, what happened was he tried to play hardball because McCagnon got rolled over for every goddamn negotiation. He got played over and over. So Joe Douglas tried to play hardball in negotiations, and it blew up in his face to an epic level on 2 levels. Robbie Anderson's playing great, and Perriman fucking sucks. That
no,
answer
Perriman
me off,
does suck.
That answer bothers me.
Perriman does suck.
But I underestimate his value. Come on, man. You can do better. It's your goddamn job. This is your first contract negotiation? This is your first free agent trying to figure out how to keep? That's not very reassuring.
Yeah, and the other thing is, what's so crazy about it is now that we have Denzel Mims on the field, that the other thing that kind of pisses me off is why isn't Adam Gase not letting Sam throw the ball to Denzel Mims? I mean, or Darryl Lawings, whoever the hell is coaching the offensive plays.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't get it.
Anything on offense right now doesn't make sense, man. None of it makes sense at all whatsoever. They can't answer their own questions. They can't answer the game plan. They can't answer the adjustments at halftime. It can't answer anything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just I know. And the thing is, the other thing is that's so hard is about like watching the season right now. I'm like listening to myself. I'm like, okay, if you want Adam Gase to coach the rest of the season, fine, go ahead. But I just the only thing now, and I know primetime, you mentioned this to me last week. I will be so nervous and scared if Joe Douglas decides I'm gonna want you to come back for 2021. But I know that Joe Douglas. I know, but the thing is, it's up to Christopher Johnson. And honestly,
at the end of the day, making the final decision is the owner. Joe Douglas has no power. Chris Johnson makes the decision, or Woody Johnson. Joe Douglas cannot make that decision. He can make a recommendation. He can say, this is what I think you should do. And they can say, go back to your office. This is our team. We do what we want. That's it.
All right, so then
I know. And the thing is,
so Joe Douglas could just sit there and be quiet, not say a fucking word, give all the power to Adam Gase, let him come back next year, ruin his culture. Not a big deal.
No power to Adam Gase. He makes the recommendation.
Kevin,
the power is the owners.
Kevin,
owners
I
make the
just
decision.
fully agree. I was just about to say what Tyson said. It's all on Christopher Johnson, and unfortunately,
Steve. Okay, hold on. Who fired Mike McCagnon?
Who fired Mike McCagnon? Unfortunately, Adam Gase did, because Adam Gase didn't like the way how he was running the team. But here's the thing:
Adam Gase made a power play, and the owner made a decision and did it.
You just
Kevin,
said
I
exactly
understand
what I'm
your
saying.
point. You're repeating
yourself. He made a power play. That is what Joe Douglas needs to do. Because Adam Gase has all the power right now.
And if Joe Douglas does that, and the ownership doesn't buy it, who's the problem? It's the owners.
Yeah, because and the worst part is
you're telling me that ownership is going to side with Adam Gase if Joe Douglas pulled a power play like that. They would not even think about that. If it became an issue in public, if he's saying something behind the scenes, okay, and they're just telling him to be quiet, sit down, that's not your job, then he has to go to the media. He has to leak something and make it a public issue.
No, he doesn't. He just does his job.
Yes, he does.
No.
Okay, so
he does his
can't
job,
do his job.
Dude.
How does he do his job effectively if you have a head coach that can't use the players that you're bringing in? How does he do his job then?
He is not going to go to the media and act like a baby. He's going to make his fucking opinion known to owners.
So by sitting silent, he's making it his problem by sitting silent. Go ahead, Steve.
No, he's making it his problem. He's admitting his own problem. He's going to get better talent. Let the coach dig his own hole.
Yeah, the other thing that is the worst part about this season is us fans are the ones that have to fucking suffer. We're the ones who have to suffer. And you two have been longer Jet fans than I have, okay? At the end of the day, we're the ones who suffer. And listen, I do respect the fact that Joe Douglas did at the beginning basically said that he knows how the fans are frustrated throughout this whole year. And listen, he does feel bad for us of what we're all going through. It's just at the end of the day, we're the ones that have to suffer. We just can't do anything because we're the fucking fans.
Steve, thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
Steve.
All right, next up, we're going to go to our good friend Shaq. Shaq, what's up, man?
It's good, fellas. What's going on?
What's up, Shaq?
Long time no talk, man.
Yeah, man, because, man, look, man, I've been having to work, man, and why should I waste my time, man, with this team? Why should I lose my sleep of me having to work overnight for this team? I'm not doing that. I love you guys, but I can't do that. Like today, Joe Douglas' press conference to me he looked either defeated or he just looked like he didn't feel like answering the questions because he know everything is blowing up in his face. It's something. Because honestly, I feel like he came into the season really believing this team is ready and, it's going backwards. Because this is arguably the worst team in Jets history. Like
NFL history.
Like NFL history, yeah. Like he has done nothing besides lie to everybody, giving everybody, a glimmer of hope. 6-2 wasn't a fluke, all this garbage. And then, if it was really a rebuild, you wouldn't sign veteran players on 1-year deals. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't make sense. Like I'd rather him have young guys out there fucking up, making rookie mistakes, but you sign Frank Gore and all these older bums and overpaying for guys.
And who wanted Frank Gore, which tells you, where exactly the hierarchy is within this organization and who has the power. Frank Gore is absolutely an Adam Gase guy. So what does that tell you? I mean, how much say does Joe Douglas have? And the longer he sits back, sits silent, the more power Adam Gase is going to continue to have, the more influence he's going to have over ownership.
And the more ownership tolerates. Like, I don't understand why you're making Joe Douglas to be like that king almighty here. At the end of the day, the final decision maker is Chris Johnson. If everybody's telling him to do something, he has to make the decision. Or he tells, I'm not going to fire the coach midseason. Everybody just shut the fuck up and say the right thing. At the end of the season, I do it. Like,
Shaq, I know you have my back on this.
You know,
I don't care if Shaq has your back or not. I don't care. It doesn't faze me at all.
Hey, it's all love, but I got to agree with Primetime. Because I've been saying this since forever, since August, July. You could watch the videos. I've been saying, it wouldn't surprise me if Adam Gase is here next year. And I really believe he's going to be here next year. Because it makes sense. Why is Joe Douglas putting his reputation on the line for this guy?
But how do we know he's putting his reputation? How is he putting his reputation on the line? If he does the right thing and goes to ownership and says,
how is he putting his reputation? Really? He's overseeing the worst football team in NFL history. Half of these players have been brought in by Joe Douglas. Half of these players have been brought in by him. This is going down as the worst team in NFL history. That's part of his reputation right now. Does he want to go down like that?
And is he not getting credit for all the cap space he has next year, all the draft picks he has next year? Is he not getting credit for that?
He won't be able to use it. He won't be able to use the cap space because he's going to keep Adam Gase because him and Adam Gase are in on this bullshit that we're watching.
Let's stick to one topic. The first thing I said was he can go what everybody's saying he should do. He could have already done that and said, listen, this coach is not working out for me. I don't like the way things are going. And they could say, duly noted. Okay, now go do your job. And at the end of the season,
do you think he did that? Do you think he did that?
How could they not?
Do you really think?
I don't think he did it.
I don't think he did it.
Everybody's in
Adam
the
Gase
NFL
got him this job.
League.
Adam Gase got him this job, and he is still incredibly thankful. And he's going to be patient. They
No,
were in
he's
this
not.
together.
He would
They sat on $30 million together with plenty of holes on this roster. This was a tank orchestrated together.
A lot of holes.
Adam Gase is not on the hot seat.
Joe Douglas is
not
doing
at all.
his job. He's getting draft picks for next year and cap space for next year. That's what he's doing. He makes a recommendation about the coach, and the owner, the only decision maker in the organization, makes the final decision. And that's it. That's the way it works.
So again,
that's why the hierarchy is the mess.
Who fired Mike McCagnon?
And he's part of the reason.
And who after week one talked about Adam Gase? Who doubled down on the coach after an embarrassing loss to the Bills?
But that's entirely
the goofy guy named Christopher Johnson. But
that's entirely proving my point.
Ownership.
That's entirely proving my point, though. Because
your point is go to media and act like an asshole. That's not a point.
Because Chris Johnson doubled down on Mike McCagnon after they fired Todd Bowles. He said, "No, this is my GM. I'm gonna ride or die with him. I'm gonna let him spend $100 million. I'm gonna let him go through the draft." And then within 4 months of having Adam Gase in the building, Adam Gase created the rift, and Mike McCagnon was fired. So you're telling me now that with a year and a half being in this building, working together with Adam Gase.
Like,
there's no way that Joe Douglas could pull a power play and get Adam Gase fired. He can't do that.
Exactly. Do you really believe Christopher Johnson is going to fire Joe Douglas for asking him to go?
You just proved my point for me.
How?
They let Adam Gase fire the general manager after week 1 of this season. I'm talking about this season. You lived in the past for too long. But this year, week 1, the owner came out and gave praise to the coach. The problem is the fucking owner.
Which tells you he's clueless.
We all know, but
he's
Tyson,
not going to change his mind unless
So wait. To summarize it,
these guys are in it together. These guys are in it together.
You have former players talking about the team, every media member. You've had fan protests. You had everything in the world saying this coach should be fired. You know that the front office is like, listen, man, if they were asked honestly, should the coach be fired? Yes. This is an ownership problem. They're sticking by the coach probably for the rest of this year. It's nothing to do with Joe Douglas. This is an owner problem.
He's sticking with him next year, too.
But that's Joe Douglas' fault? It's an owner problem. This is an ownership problem.
I think they're in it together. And they're both.
They're co-workers. They're on the same level.
I think they're in it together. I've been screaming it for a long time. People thought Adam Gase was supposed to be gone week 1 or week 2. He's still here because I'm telling people he's here until next year and maybe the year after that. Like, they're both destroyed the roster. There's nothing on this roster. This roster is done. I wouldn't mind picking Trevor Lawrence, but this roster is done. I'm tired of watching rebuilds. I'm tired of watching debacles every Sunday. I'm tired of watching the Chiefs destroy us, teams like Denver destroy us. I'm tired of it. Like the way Joe Douglas looked in the press conference, to me, he deserved that look because he's in it with Adam Gase destroying this team. And I feel like they're going to do something. They're going to bring Trevor Lawrence here, and the roster is not going to be ready. And like I said, people think because we got all this cap space.
So Shaq, then you don't have confidence with Joe Douglas with $75 million and all these draft picks? You don't have confidence in his decision making as in okay. So then your argument should be everybody should be fired. You want everybody fired.
Maybe
he had more than
he may be hit on a couple
of
draft picks, but the money he won't be able to use because we're going to pay for guys like George Fant again, and it's going to destroy the roster even more.
He even said today he wants to build through the draft. He's not about free agency.
And then he
can't
use the money. He won't be able to use the money because nobody's going to want to play for Adam Gase because Adam Gase will be here next year. I'm telling you, he will be here next year. He's going to be here next year, whether anybody likes it or not. Do you think from that press conference you really believe that he's getting rid of Adam Gase? Do you really believe in your heart that he's going to get rid of Adam Gase?
It's not his decision.
Tyson?
It's not his decision.
Oh. Well, Adam Gase is there.
Would he recommend?
Guess what? He's going to be there.
If Chris Johnson were to go into Joe Douglas's office and say, "Hey, what do you think about Adam Gase? Do you recommend him coming back for another year?" What do you think Joe Douglas' response is?
Welcome, buddy. We're here for the long haul, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
You say we're the worst in football. We should make a change. I want to hire my own coach and get my own quarterback. At some point, you save your own ass. It's business. There's no friends in business, man. You save your own ass. Shaq, thanks for calling in, man. We got to keep going with calls, though. Thank you for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
Good talking to you, Shaq.
We're going to go to Jay. What's up, man?
Oh, what a freaking night.
I know Jay's going to bring some fire here. Let's go, Jay.
Yeah, so Tyson, I'm surprised on your take, man. I'm so with primetime on this. It's like, why can't Joe Douglas go in there with an ultimatum? Listen, I don't want to be here if this is the coach that you're going to give me, period. So either you let me out of my contract or I'll resign or you'll fire the guy. Those are your options.
Well, so they say, okay, we'll do it at the end of the year. They say, okay, at the end of the year, we'll make that decision at the end of this year. Then you sit back and you say, then I'll prepare for next year.
Okay, and if that's the case, then why is Joe Douglas going out there with these public, bouquets he's throwing at him? It was ridiculous. I'm sick and tired of hearing that crap. Dude, this is New York, okay? The fans aren't stupid, and they treat us like we're stupid, and it really drives me insane. Like, if you're gonna go out there and lie, like, why lie? Why not just answer? Do a Belichick. Listen, our team is 0-8 right now. You're gonna ask me specifically about one person? I'm not pinning this on one person right now. It's an entire failure. I'm the blame. Gase is the blame. The players are to blame. Everybody's coaching and playing for their jobs the rest of the way. Period. We're gonna we're not making any moves right now, but at the end of the year we're gonna go in and we're gonna look at everybody. That's all he had to say. Like, I don't understand why they don't just say the easy thing. Why they like, he's so coming back next year. I'm telling you guys, like, it's not even a question in my mind that Adam Gase will be back next year. The seeds were planted today. They did this on Election Day. They buried it. He said what he had to say. Now they ask questions the rest of the year. 0-9. Is Gase going to be fired? No. 0-10. Is Gase going to be fired? No. 0-12. 0-14. No. And then when the offseason comes and Black Monday goes by and he's still the Jets head coach, well, there it is. I mean, he's coming back. If people were waiting for like the last 2 weeks for this, been talking about this for weeks. Oh, Joe Douglas is finally going to speak up. You guys have been talking about on the show. Oh, he's finally going to speak up. This is going to be where he has to distance himself. And that's what you guys were saying. And he went the opposite route. Ty, we talked about it earlier today. I told you what I thought he was going to do. They did it exactly. He's going to go out and he's going to publicly support. Think about the timing of it. He's going to come out. He's going to publicly support Adam Gase, and he's going to call. He called him part of the future, basically. He said he's part of the solution. I mean,
yeah, but he also said Jamal Adams can be a Jet for life too. This is just they're trying to play the game of let's just get through the rest of the season and then we'll see what happens. He's just trying not to stir any waves. I mean, some of the comments about the offense were crazy.
They make it worse on themselves. They don't even know how to play that game right.
I don't agree with anything they do. I don't agree with any public stance. I don't agree with their social media accounts, how they handle it. Like, none of it. They just don't know how to get out of their own way. That's the Jets. That's always been the Jets.
Yeah.
They never make,
that being the case,
the simple thing is never
since
easy.
they can never get out of their own way, and the owners are who they are, and every situation that we all talk about, why should we have any confidence that this ownership is going to do the right thing after this year? I have no confidence in it. I'll believe it when I see it. Everybody I talk to behind the scenes says there's no way he's getting fired. Okay, everybody. Ex-players, ex-coaches, media people, everybody I've talked to says, oh, he's going to be back next year. Don't worry, he's going to be back. I know it's all us Jet fans. We sit around and we say, oh, he's definitely going to be fired. They're going to go 0-16. How could you bring him back? That's true. Nobody's arguing that saying that he's going to be back next year is saying that he deserves to be back. The question is, it's not whether he's going to be back on his own merit. It's whether or not the Johnsons are dumb enough to bring him back. That's the only argument. Are they dumb enough? If your argument is no way they're dumb enough to bring him back, you're wrong. They are dumb enough. They were dumb enough to hire him in the first place. They were dumb enough to fire McCagnon after hiring him and allowing him to spend all that money. So now all of a sudden they got smart overnight? Bullshit. They're bringing this clown back, and that's just the long and short of it. And nothing that they've said, nothing that they've done has done anything to convince me otherwise. So if he gets fired, I'll be happily wrong. But I don't feel like I've been too wrong the last couple of years. I understand their playbook. This is what they do.
I mean, I don't have no listen. I will never understand what they do. I think the problem will always start with them and end with them, and everything else underneath them. It doesn't matter who they hire, who they bring in. You can have a qualified guy. I mean, they oversaw their franchise quarterback get destroyed. Like they
right.
watched their friend Sam Darnold get destroyed right in front of their eyes and held nobody accountable for it. And doubled down.
Ty, they brought in Gase specifically to uplift Darnold, and he failed miserably, and they're going to allow him another quarterback. It's so insane. It's so outlandish and so insane, and it drives me absolutely insane.
Okay.
And then
this is what's happening right now is exactly what they wanted. First of all, they did this on Election Day today, so it's not going to garner any headlines tomorrow. And the other thing is we've all accepted losing. So now it's like they lose to the Chiefs, and it's all a joke now. The Jets lost again. It's like funny now. Nobody's outraged. They don't have to worry about fans in the stands. They don't have to worry about ticket sales. They don't have to worry about shit. They can lose all they want, save all the money they want on the players they're getting rid of, and there's no backlash anymore, man. We've all become complacent now where it's like, you know what? How many people have given up? I don't want to watch the game anymore. I don't give a shit. Nobody. They could lose 45-0. Nobody cares. Like, we're all complacent. We're all falling into their trap.
But to Kev's point, right? Like, what stops Joe Douglas from saying, this is my legacy, this is how I'm going to be remembered in this field? Like, I understand I have a 6-year contract, but it's not going to be tied to this guy, Adam Gase. I'm not doing it. I won't be here next year if Adam Gase is the coach. That's your choice to make. If you're bringing Adam Gase back, You're not bringing me back. I'll get a
that
job
happens in
somewhere
the
else because
off-season.
I'll have that respect around the league. I'll say, listen, I refuse to come back into this situation. You think that other owners wouldn't understand why he resigned? This is ridiculous.
But that happens in the off-season. It doesn't happen now. That happens in the off-season.
Right. Why wait? Why wait, though? Why wait? You have a chance to make it better right now.
If you're still here on Black Monday, if you're still here on Black Monday, though, Tyson, if he's not fired right away after the season, if this lingers on, you miss out on the best head coaching candidates. Like you're putting yourself behind the eight ball again.
I'm not like. Listen, but tell you, I understood. I've been saying Gase should have been fired since last year. I say it every week this season. I understand. But for me, it's Joe Douglas. He's going to wait out the rest of his year. He's getting cap space. He's getting draft picks. He's going to let it play out. And at the end of the year, if they say, listen, we are going to bring back Gase. If he wants to resign, good for him. Go for it. Hold a power play. Say, listen, either him or me.
But Tyson
the Jets owners say, then you're gone, then so be it. You're gone. And then you have a head coach that's going to hire the next general manager. It's ownership. There's a problem.
Yeah. Tyson, connect all the
We're
dots.
We're 100% on that same page.
Connect all the dots. If we're going to sit here and try to say that Adam Gase has all this power, like we've said for the last several weeks, then, I mean, look at all the moves that have been made. Who's going to fire him? How is he going to get fired?
Dude, it's ownership, man. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. If they don't fire Gase at the end of the year and Joe Douglas wants to quit, let him quit.
But that's the point, though. That's what I'm trying to say. Connect the dots.
Do you really think that they're going to let Joe Douglas quit?
You're sitting on $30 million.
Ownership's incompetent.
You're sitting on. Listen.
Then,
you're sitting on
so
$30 million.
The problem is ownership.
You're sitting on $30 million cap space right now. You think that happens without the approval of Adam Gase? With how we've acknowledged he has more power than Joe Douglas, right, in the hierarchy. So you go into this year with all these holes. You have all this cap space. You have future draft choices that you can potentially trade for guys that can help you right now. We didn't do anything to try to improve this roster as the season got closer.
Well,
we did nothing.
Theory, no, actually, that's actually not true because in the offseason, everybody gave Joe Douglas credit for upgrading the offensive line. It didn't work. And then half of the fans that are all lying now told me how much better Perryman was than Robbie Anderson.
Why didn't it work, Ty? Why didn't those offensive linemen? Why all of a sudden the offensive linemen that we jettisoned out of here are all of a sudden starting on winning teams and playing well, and the guys that we brought in that were supposed to be an upgrade suck?
When we did our preseason show, everybody was telling me how this is a 6 or 7 win team because Joe Douglas upgraded this, did that. People were telling me we didn't need Robbie Anderson, we didn't need Jamal Adams, we didn't need all this. Now that the Jets are 0-8, half people are changing their takes.
I didn't tell you that, but that's
But what does that tell you?
But that's
you change the cast and you have the same result. What does that tell you?
Right.
So, listen, I'm not disputing. But see what you're understanding. I'm not disputing Adam Gase is a fucking horrible coach. I understand it. But now Joe Douglas, and from the eyes of some, is getting credit for having all this cap space next year when other teams have to cut $100 million. So the Jets financially, in terms of the draft, are a very good spot for next year. That's for him. That's what he's trying to do. So whether it's with Gase or not, that's not his problem. That's the ownership's problem. If they bring him back and he says, you know what, I don't want to be here, I'm going to quit, then good for you, Joe Douglas. Resign. Because ownership likes Adam Gase. That's their call.
And they like Mike McCagnon too.
But hold on. If he pulls that power play, you think that the Jets would actually allow Joe Douglas to walk out the door and say, Adam Gase, you're going to get a third GM here? What GM would come here? Adam Gase, no way. Adam Gase might as well be the GM. If Joe Douglas were to walk out, they might as well just let Adam Gase run the show like Bill O'Brien or Bill Belichick.
And that has to be his approach in the offseason then. That's it. It's him or me. I'll let the season play out. I set things up. If he has to give his blueprint to ownership, okay, ownership, listen, here's my plan for next year. Here's all the players I can get. Here's all the cap space I have. Who's going to be the coach? Oh, you want to bring Sam Darnold back too? Or you want this? Well, I don't agree with that. I'm out of here. If he does that, more power to him. The ultimate
I give him a lot of respect if he did that, and so would the rest of the league. They'd be like, get out of town. He would get a job immediately because he still has respect in the league. Like he would, if Joe Douglas were to resign under those circumstances with the Jets, he would get a GM job. I would guarantee you in the next 12 months. Fact. He would be the top candidate, just like he was before he came here. He would say, I came into, I underestimated what a shit show it was over there. I got involved in there way over my head. That place is a mess. I resigned. Period. He would get his same 4-year deal anywhere else. It wouldn't matter. He's not some scrub like Adam Gase. Adam Gase, when he gets fired, will never get another coordinator job in this league.
So I agree with you, dude. I completely agree with you. Okay, but thanks for calling, man. We got to get fucking all these people on the phone. So
enjoy it, boys.
Man.
We appreciate the therapy session.
Good talking, man.
We're gonna go to Zach. Zach, what's up, man?
Hey guys, what's going on?
How you doing, man?
What's up, dude?
Good. Obviously it's just been tough. Being a fan. What's going on now is just brutal. But I was wondering what you guys think about Adam Gase moving forward, and what do you think? What do you think is going to happen to him? Do you think he's going to stay? Do you think he'll be here next year? Obviously, there's lots of things going on with the rumors that he will eventually get fired. But I just have this feeling, guys, that Gase is going to be around next year and for many years to come. It's scary, but I kind of believe what Joe said today. It scares me to say that, but what do you guys think about it? What do you think about the Jets' future head coach? Who do you think it's going to be? And what was your take on the press conference today?
Well, I'll just say this. At this very moment, a lot can change, but at this very moment, I think that the plan, the intention is for Adam Gase to come back. I don't think that Joe Douglas wants him fired, and clearly Mr. Johnson doesn't want him fired. And there's no indication that Joe Douglas, at this point at least, is willing to do anything outside the box to Adam Gase fired. He seems perfectly fine, kind of just going down this path. We're in an evaluation year. We're going to let the guys play, even though, we're still giving Frank Gore all these carries. It just seems like Adam Gase is part of the future. He seems too nonchalant coaching these games. He does not seem like a coach that's on the hot seat, that's coaching for his job. Because I think at some point this year, when your offense is the worst in the history of football, when you're trending in that direction, you're 0-8, your offense hasn't scored a point the last 3 weeks in the second half, you would think at some point you would try something different. You would change it up a little bit, go up tempo, take some deep shots. He hasn't tried anything outside the box. So, me, he's really too comfortable. He does not look like a guy that's worried about his job at all.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. He hasn't tried anything, creative, and it's, as a fan, it's really annoying that he hasn't been able to, use everybody and try different weapons and try different ideas. Obviously, that would be nice, but it's just one of those things. I think Douglas has to, take care of business. This is something that he needs to take care of. And in the offseason, they need to add, a lot of receivers. They have to add a lot of receivers. But I think he wants to build this through the draft, and as you can see, what he was saying through the draft, he seems to know what he's doing, and he's very much at blame for not bringing back Robbie Anderson. I do think that was his fault. And he did take action, and he did take blame for it, and I respect that. But again, he is the GM of this team. He needs to take matters into his own hand and deliver, especially for the fans. We deserve a team better than this, a product better than this, and hopefully sooner than later we'll have a good team. I do think that they will draft Lawrence. I do think they will.
Yeah, just touching on what you said with Robbie Anderson. I mean, it doesn't make it right what happened. Like you said, it's his job. You're the GM of a team in New York. You need to do a better job of understanding what the market is, understanding the kind of talent that you have in Robbie Anderson when you have, a full 16 games to evaluate him. But, at the very least, you accept, I guess, holding, the fact that he held himself accountable, and, hopefully it was a learning experience for a first-time GM, and that the next time he does have a young talent like that in his building that's underperforming in large part because of your head coach, his inability to utilize the guy correctly, hopefully you don't let that guy walk out the door. At the very least, you get some kind of draft compensation back before, he leaves, and instead of, trying to replace him on the cheap with Rashad Perriman, which has been an absolute disaster.
Yeah, I think Perriman's been a big disaster. To expect him to be somebody who can be a reliable receiver, and you're going to have players getting injured. The Jets have to know this. They know they're going to have a guy step up. Obviously, we don't want a guy like Jeff Smith, a no-name guy, but these guys have to be able to produce, and that's Joe's job to go out and bring in somebody if that has to be the case, and they're in need of a receiver, which they are. But also, I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on who you think is going to win on Sunday. I don't think the Jets will win a game this season. I don't think they'll beat the Patriots
Monday night.
as much as people think. Monday night.
I mean, would we do a preview show on Friday, and we'll do a live stream on Monday night? But I think that game's gonna be close, and we'll share our predictions then. Zach, thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Good talking to you, man.
All right, we'll go to the busy phones here. Travis from Long Island, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Really enjoying the show tonight.
Appreciate it.
What's on your mind, man? Joe Douglas spoke. What is your reaction to it?
Yeah, I want to cover basically just 3 points with it and get your guys' opinion on it. I do want to say, Tyson, I agree with you. If we let Douglas go, if Douglas resigns, either he resigns because of differences with the organization or they fire him because of it, he definitely gets another job. I mean, I appreciate how well-spoken the guy is. He said a lot of the right things as well as some things I didn't expect. Like the last caller mentioned, owning that Robbie thing is a big deal. I mean, I don't know how that happens when you just look at what Robbie's stats were, 3 seasons, 750-plus yard average with one season almost being 1K at 15-yard a catch. I mean, at the price that we let him go, I think basically what he said is exactly what happened, that they thought he'd be getting a much bigger contract, and they essentially burnt that bridge with him and couldn't go back and try and offer him something. I do like what he said about Sam as well. I just feel like based off the tone when talking about Sam as well as Gase, I don't believe he was being truthful. I think if we get the number 1 pick, we're definitely moving away from Sam. I think if we don't get the number 1 pick based off how he talks Sam up, he'll feel comfortable staying with the team. He didn't throw him under the bus. He said he's developing. He appreciates, his grit, things of that nature. So I do think he did right by Sam. When it comes to Gase, I felt like, when he was having that conversation, Gase is somewhat of a dead man walking. Again, just reading between the lines, listening to tone. I mean, you can't have a guy come back if we truly go 0-16. You look at the guys who did that before, Marinelli with the Lions and then Jackson with the Browns. I mean, what those guys do after going 0-16. You're not going to get any respect from players in the league going 0-16. Mike Tomlin goes 8-8 last year with a second and third string quarterback because good coaches find a way to win. Adam Gase isn't a good coach. I just want your opinion on some of the stuff that I discussed, guys, and just overall what you thought about, the press conference. Again, I think Douglas handled it the way that a professional would. I appreciated how he represented the organization, but he absolutely sounds defeated, like one of the callers said. So, I mean, it's a wait and see, but if he doesn't get rid of Gase, he's got to go too.
Yeah, listen, I'll start. I mean, I'm not going to go over the top crazy about anything he said. I acknowledged at the beginning of the show that, this is a tough predicament to be, and partially his fault, but it's a tough spot to be in at 0-8. There's really nothing he could say that would appease anybody, whether it's media, fans, answering for, your head coach that's clearly on the hot seat, answering for, plenty of roster decisions that clearly didn't go well. He did what he needed to do today as far as holding himself accountable for a lot of the failures. The only thing I didn't like, and I'll say it again, is just how he continued to go out of his way to offer support for Adam Gase, because there's other ways to do it without directly throwing him under the bus. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting him to say, yeah, this head coach sucks, I need a new head coach. There are ways to do it. Like the way he treated himself, I thought he would hold Adam Gase to some degree to that same standard. How he was very hard on himself for all these moves. Adam Gase has got a plenty of players in here that you brought in. There should be a much higher standard for what he offers and what he brings to the table as far as a head coach goes, and how some of these young guys are progressing right now.
Sure. I just feel like, I agree with everything you said. I just feel like he kind of wanted to not have it turn into more of a circus atmosphere than it already is prime time. Like, I mean, if you do give hints that Gase is a dead man walking, obviously the team's already quit on him, but then it turns on to a full-on shit show. I mean, you want to kind of have some kind of level of professionalism within the walls of the organization. I feel, again, if you just listen to tone and body language, like one of the times that, he had said something along the lines of, oh, Gase is the solution. First he looks to the left like, maybe Johnson's right there holding a gun to his head, like, hey, you better say this. Or, if you just look at tone and body language, I just feel like, he's a dead man walking. There's no way that Gase can come back. Just again, reading tone and body language, I just feel like he was saying the right things to just not have us be more of a clown show than we are. And that's honestly, I appreciated that because I felt like he represented the organization well. He came in humble. He didn't come in with that fake bluster that he had at the beginning of the year trying to sell us the crap that we're watching every Sunday. And he came in, with, takes that I just didn't expect. But I agree with you that, it was concerning. I mean, anytime I hear anyone saying anything good about Adam Gase, I'm concerned. Oh, again, listen,
Travis,
yeah. Yeah, I hope you're absolutely right. I mean, I hope you're right. I hope Adam is fired. I hope Joe Douglas sees all the same things that we're seeing. I mean, it's obvious what should happen at this point. I don't want to be correct on this. I would love nothing more than to be wrong. But, for me, part of the tone with Joe Douglas as well as Adam Gase, to me, it doesn't really feel like right now at this very moment that anybody's really on the hot seat.
Well, it's fair. It's fair.
Travis, thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Good talking to you, man.
All right. Next up is Capel in New Jersey. What's up, man?
Capel.
Hey guys,
Capel.
How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. So, I guess I'll address the number one topic that's, in all of our minds, which is, what does Joe Douglas think of Adam Gase? And I think we need to give Joe Douglas the benefit of the doubt that in the walls of the organization, he's gone to Chris Johnson and told him that Gase isn't the answer. But really, what is the reason now to fire Adam Gase? At 0-4, 0-5 after the Denver game, I really do believe the owners were still in on Gase, and maybe Joe Douglas. But at this point, there's no reason to fire Adam Gase. You're at 0-8. Even if you fire him, who's going to be the interim? It's going to be Dowell Loggins or, Jim Bob Cooter. And you're not going to find out this year what Sam Darnold is. That's what that's what all Jet fans wanted to find out. How good is Sam Darnold? We're not going to find that out. I mean, we know that. First of all, he's hurt. His shoulder's banged up. The receiving core is never healthy. The offensive line is never healthy. And the coaching staff is abysmal. Whether it's Adam Gase, the offensive coordinator, the assistant offensive coordinator, whoever. So with all those factors combined, the best interest for this team is to go 0-16, get the number one pick, hopefully Joe Douglas bringing in a new coach, making his moves in free agency, and then drafting Trevor Lawrence and starting fresh. We should give Joe Douglas the benefit of the doubt because of his track record, because he's seen successful teams. And I think he does believe Adam Gase isn't the answer. Now, and we need to add on to that with an 0-16 season, the owners, the owners are awful, but there is no way they can justify bringing back Adam Gase with an 0-16 season. I mean, the media would be all over it. I mean, we would still be a laughing stock. Even if we brought Trevor Lawrence in, we would still be a clown show. And I think everyone knows that. So, I agree with the last caller in terms of the tone and body language. It seemed like there was a little bit of a pause when he said that Gase is part of the solution. I think the owners are spoon-feeding Douglas, these answers regarding Gase. And really, at the end of the year is when Douglas needs to step up if the owners somehow do believe in Adam Gase. He needs to say, okay, I'm done. You either pick me or Gase. And if he doesn't do that, then there's a big problem. But in the press conference today, I was really upset in the sense that the media didn't ask him a lot about his, roster decisions. Like, they should have asked him about his free agent moves, how they haven't panned out, more about his personnel decisions. And the fact that why is Frank Gore still getting more carries than LaMichael Pirine? He gushed about how everyone's getting healthy. Well, why is Frank Gore getting more carries than Pirine? Why are we doing that? Why are we rewarding Frank Gore? He's a great mentor, sure. He can mentor from the bench. So that part I still don't understand. And that is the part that concerns me. Why Joe Douglas wouldn't step in and force Adam Gase to play his own rookie class. Why is Cameron Clark not in there? Why is Jabari Zuniga not in there? And that's what we need to watch. That's where we'll know how much of a puppet Joe Douglas actually is.
No,
what do you guys think about that?
No, that's an excellent point. That should absolutely give you some insight as far as how much authority Joe Douglas has. At this point, you would suspect you're 0-8. You're not playing for anything this season. It should be all about trying to get these young guys in there and evaluating what you have for the future. And almost everything you said was spot on. The only thing I'll somewhat disagree with is what you said in the beginning when you mentioned that at 0-4 or 0-5 potentially, that ownership and possibly even Joe Douglas were still on board with Adam Gase. Which, if they were okay starting the season with him, which included a lot of decisions with, holding on to cap space, not, trading any future draft picks to help your team now, if they were okay going into the season with him and the plan, the vision was to, push resources to 2021 and look to the future, well, part of me thinks that Adam Gase was a part of those conversations, and he's a part of that future plan. Now, whether or not 0-8 can change that, I would hope so. Everything that we've seen, I mean, we're setting NFL records for incompetence right now on offense, so you would think that should be enough for anybody that knows football, or even a guy like Chris Johnson who doesn't know football, to make a change. But I just don't think at this moment right now the intention is to fire Adam Gase. If you go the whole way, 0-16, and guys are still regressing and there's no progress, maybe something changes. But right now, as things stand right now today, with all the injuries that they can use as an excuse, I just don't think right now the plan's to fire him.
Yeah, and one more thing I'll quickly add is I think you're right. I think Joe Douglas and Chris Johnson and Adam Gase were all on the same page in the beginning of the season, which to us is ludicrous as fans because, we're intelligent fans. We understand football. We've seen a lot of incompetence. So, we already knew Adam Gase should have been gone. So I agree with you that, Joe Douglas should have known prior to the season starting that Adam Gase isn't the answer. But we can't, what's there to debate about that anymore? Yes, Joe Douglas messed up, but now it's about, thinking about the future. And that part, I still can't convince myself that Joe Douglas really believes Adam Gase is the answer. We'll find out in the next 8 weeks.
The problem is it's not Joe Douglas's decision though. Everybody's acting like he's the final decision maker. He's not. It's the ownership. They say whether they think Adam Gase is the right coach for their team. That's their decision. So everybody around them could say no. If they say yes, then guess what? We're fucked. And that's just the life.
Okay, but
right?
then the ultimatum.
That's the way it is.
Yeah,
so then as fans,
you're
we say, you know what? We're not going to buy your tickets. We're not going to buy your jerseys. We're not going to watch your game. So Joe Douglas makes his decision, and we make ours. Say, you know what? If you want to keep Gase, that's fine. We're not buying any tickets. We're not going to go to your games. We're not going to do nothing around your team anymore. We're going to be fed up. We're done. And that's it.
Yeah, every fan should riot if Adam Gase comes back. Well, what I'm saying is the ultimatum for Joe Douglas to go to the media or go to Chris Johnson right now, I don't think it makes any sense at all. Which I'm agreeing with you, Tyson.
No, at the end of the season.
At the end of the season. Yep.
Yeah. So thanks for calling, man. We appreciate
at the end of the season. Yep. Thank you guys for having me on. Good night.
Good talking, man.
We're gonna go to Charles in Brooklyn. Charles, what's up, man?
What's up? How y'all doing?
What's up, Charles?
Man, I wanted to say, I agree with Tyson kind of because it's like Joe Douglas, he really has no power, as far as firing. So why sit there and, dog the coach out? It really does more harm than good, really. But truthfully, in my opinion, though, Joe Douglas is a bad GM because he's been here for 2 years, and he added one impact player, and that's the left tackle. And he's a rookie, so he could always regress and get hurt with anything. So, and he basically traded away our one All-Pro, and all our best players. So we literally have nothing. So basically, he stripped his team down bare and added one impact player in 2 years. And I just feel like I understand Adam Gase is horrible, but
like we were talking
he's
about earlier,
too.
that's part of what he's getting a lot of praise for, though. Like we were talking about earlier, because he's essentially saving all this cap space during a time where a lot of teams are going to be over as far as salary cap space, and he's added a couple extra first-round picks, and he's got all of his resources going forward. There's nobody really that's under contract minus C.J. Mosley that they're really tied to for any big money financially going forward. So he's setting things up going forward to have a lot of resources to use. It's just a shame that we've pushed a lot of young guys with some talent out the door, and we really haven't gotten a chance to truly evaluate what's here because of the coaching staff.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though, right, those draft picks are lottery tickets, so we don't know what they will become. We knew what those players was at the end of the day, especially Jamal Adams. We gave away 2 first-round picks for him, but he was an All-Pro. You don't find All-Pros every you know what I'm saying, just in the draft.
I agree with that.
So,
yep.
And like I said, he brought one impact player, if you think about it, which is the left tackle. He didn't even want him. He wanted the Giants left tackle, which is the worst one. So, and if you really think about it, this man has brought nothing to the team, but he subtracted all the talent, literally. So, I'm just saying, unless he feel like he's a draft guru and every pick gonna land, which won't happen because we see now this whole draft class is a wash. Mims he made one good catch. Everybody going crazy over it, but who else showed anything? Nobody. This is a wash to me. So I feel like, and they need to.
I was gonna say it's not to offer excuses for Joe Douglas, but I mean at the same time it's really hard to say just how much power he really has here or how much say he has with a lot of personnel decisions right now. There are a lot of people that think Adam Gase is kind of running the show, and it's hard not to believe that when you listen to these guys talk and you see Adam Gase coaching the way he is, and just not a care in the world, no adjustments, no sense of urgency to make some changes here. He's just going about his business, work as usual. So I really don't know.
Well, how could you really think about it though? But it's like how could you really blame Gase with this talent here though? Like this talent is very what's here? Like on either side of the ball, what's really here?
Yeah, but Charles, there is talent here. I mean, you can't. I mean, Gase grossly misuses so many players. We've talked about it. Positions. He hasn't used a tight end position all year long. I mean, there's so many things he hasn't done right in terms of play calling, schemes, doing different things. But the one point about Joe Douglas is next year is the equivalent of what McCaglin had. He's going to have all this cap space and all these draft picks. If he blows it or doesn't get the max value out of all those resources, we're screwed for another 3 years. Like, there's a ridiculous amount of pressure on Joe Douglas next year to make much better than what we have because this roster is barren, dude. We have, maybe 5 or 6 players? We have 5 or 6 players that are that we have hope in, and the rest are all going to be gone or should be gone. That's a lot of overhaul in a year, man.
Yeah, but the thing is too, like if he's not a draft guru, then because think about it, we have a lot of cap space, $70 million, but once you start signing players, especially if we sign like a big player like Tooney, and another thing too, right? Sam Darnold, like I think the fans need to just get him out our mind and just forget about him because based on the contract alone, he can't come back. And you're not going to give Sam Darnold an extension, and then it's like, what type of money do you give Sam Darnold? And my opinion, I think it'd be fair to trade him to San Francisco. The 49er fans want him. He's from California. He'd go back home, I think that'd be fair to him. But I in my opinion, like I said, Joe Douglas is a horrible GM in my opinion. I see it already. I hate to be negative, but he stripped all the talent bare. He added one impact player in 2 years, and I can't get over that, No,
it's a fair – listen, man, there's a fair point to when you're 0-8, you can question every facet of the organization, especially when there's a roster has all kinds of holes. So it's fair, man. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
Can I say one thing?
Okay, good.
Can I ask you a question? All right. So if we go 0-16 and he literally is the architect of this roster, is it fair to call him the worst GM ever then? Like, if we become the worst team ever? Like, would that be fair?
I won't say that necessarily the worst GM ever because he's had some really bad ones before him, but I think he made a good trade with Leonard Williams. The Jamal Adams, I don't agree with it, but the value he got back is return. He got Becton. I mean, you're going to give him some benefit of doubt, and not just because of him. It's because of the front office he assembled. He has an all-star cast next to him, man. Like, it's a very highly reputable, front office. So maybe get some of the benefit of the doubt with that. And you see, and we can make an argument that a lot of players he brought in, I mean, I hate the Perriman move, but like a lot of guys he brought in, are they being coached, like the offensive line, are they being coached bad or do they just suck? That's kind of like a little gray area, but I don't think he's the worst. I mean, Idzik was probably the worst, but he's got a lot of pressure.
I mean, but
man.
one thing,
a lot of pressure
when Idzik was here, we had stars though. He drafted some stars. We got to give him that though. Like, he did draft some good players. Like like Joe Douglas showed us a left tackle, and we don't even know what he's going to become yet because he only played half a season so far, So everything else haven't been good. Like his whole free agent class was completely garbage.
Listen, I agree with you. I mean, I've been ripping him, dude. I've been ripping him for the last 3 weeks.
But think about this, though. And this is another thing, too. And the Robert Anderson thing, I was going to add this real quick. I'm sorry. But, Robert Anderson, like people blame Gase and saying, oh, he was doing more. But, it's an indictment on Sam Darnold, too. Teddy Bridgewater's a better quarterback. Sam Darnold, in my opinion, is not what it was all hyped up to be. He get a lot of excuses. It's a lot of bad quarterbacks with a lot of bad offensive lines that still put up numbers. That still at least show something. Darnold don't have that. Another thing too, Darnold, he don't have the mental makeup in New York. This is a rough state. It's rough here.
I don't buy that. Critical. I mean, I don't buy that at all. I mean, dude, he came out of that ghost game, that ghost game where he was just bashed nationwide, made ridiculed, made fun of. He bounced back from that. So I completely disagree with that.
But you don't see him now, though. You don't see his demeanor,
dude,
though.
It has nothing to do with his mental makeup, man. This team put him through the ringer. I mean, they've done everything possible to fuck with this kid's head, but I don't think so at all. But thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, have a good one.
You too. All right, we're gonna go to
you
Ivan
had
in
Sam
Los Angeles.
back.
Ivan, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, man? How are you doing?
What's up, Ivan?
Not too bad. How about you?
Well, I mean, judging by the press conference earlier, could be doing better. And I don't know if you guys watched or listened, but Joe Douglas actually did another interview with Michael K. Show, and I thought that one was actually a lot better. And to be honest, that one pissed me off even more because they actually asked some really good questions. They actually grilled him a lot, and to me, it just really was upsetting because there doesn't seem to be any accountability. Sam Darnold always says, I got to play better, I got to do this, and then Joe Douglas comes on and says the same shit about him, like, yeah, I got to draft better. I got to, give my guys or give my coach and stuff better players. But at the end of the day, no one ever seems to hold the coach accountable. And that's really fucking terrifying because at the end, I get it. You can't throw him under the bus. It's one thing to not throw him under the bus, and it's another thing to double down on him. You can be somewhat not passive aggressive, but be somewhat lukewarm. Be like, he's a great coach or whatever. But the way he's doubling down on him is very, very concerning to me. And then another thing they brought up too was the whole Jamal Adams. They asked him about the Jamal Adams thing, like, why didn't you keep him? You have a thing for trading away good players. And his answer was he basically wanted the money, and we couldn't give him the money given the situation. But then he said, but it wasn't about the money. It was the fact that we were blown away by an offer, given what Seattle gave up. But then that got me thinking, what would have happened if Seattle never offered you that, or what would have happened if a team that didn't offer you a first rounder, right? Would you have still traded him for a second, third rounder just because you were so hell bent on not paying him? I don't know. To me, it was just very disconcerting. I get it. You can't throw him under the bus, but it's I have to agree with Ponton. I see unless something happens drastically, there's a very good chance that this is going to continue on to next season. And the thing is, Chris Johnson, callers are saying, we're going to be the laughing stock. Chris Johnson will see that we're still losing all this, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, they're not fucking football guys. They're businessmen, right? And as long as people are excited about the jerseys, about Trevor Lawrence, about whatever, they're still going to make money, and that's all they really care about. All they see is the green, not the jersey, not the Jets, but the money. And people are still going to be buying tickets. People are still going to be buying all of this shit. So, that whole Christopher Johnson thing will see the light of day. That's complete bullshit. He has shown nothing in these last however many years he's been the interim head manager or the owner that he will do anything positive. And I don't know. I don't know if any of you guys heard the Michael K. Show interview with him. And I don't know. I want to know what you guys thought about it. And yeah, man, it just sucks, man. You're doing you're doing your fan base no favor. You're doing your fan base no favor because at the end of the day, he's completely mortgaging his future on the draft. He keeps saying, "Yeah, we're building draft. We're going to build by the draft." The best teams do that, and which I guess that's fine. But basically, if you don't hit on at least 75-80% of your draft picks next year, you're fucked in my eyes. We're fucked, and if you're fucked, we're going to be fucked as a result, and we're going to be fucked for the next 3-5 years. Sorry, part-time. Go ahead.
Pretty much, man. No, listen, I heard the Michael K. interview, and my thoughts were pretty much exactly the same as yours. I get it to a certain degree that he's not going to throw Adam Gase under the bus. He's not going to, cause a crazy rift in the media, say anything crazy, ruffle feathers, stuff like that. He acknowledged his role in this mess, so I think it's kind of hard to do that, to point the finger at somebody else when you did play a large role in that. But at the same time, the only thing that really, really pissed me off was how he continued to go out of his way in support. At times where, the questions were directly about Adam Gase, he just constantly put it on his shoulders. And while some people are praising that as, good leadership, he's weathering the storm, just surviving these 8 weeks, I'm like, no, dude, we've been talking for so long about the power this guy, Adam Gase, has in this organization. And I'm still a firm believer. He has plenty of power, plenty of confidence as far as ownership goes. He's in their ear. They believe in him. They have all the trust in the world in Adam Gase. And so at some point, somebody needs to get it through to ownership that this isn't the guy. And who's going to do that? I mean, ownership's not just going to wake up and say, yeah, we need to fire Adam Gase. Gase isn't going to fire himself. Sam Darnold's not going to speak out of turn and get Gase fired. At some point, somebody in that building has to make it happen because I don't think it's going to be Chris Johnson. They've already given him the vote of confidence. They think he's a brilliant offensive mind. They have just as big of an ego as Adam Gase, so I don't think they're going to go back on their own word and fire him. So somebody with a football background, a reputable football mind, you would think, has to wake them up and say, this is unacceptable. Something has to change here. And if it's not Joe Douglas, I don't know where that's coming from.
But that's the thing too, and this isn't to disagree, and I completely agree. But again, like the main thing that bothered me about that whole thing, and what struck my nerve was the fact that, like, again, everybody seems to hold themselves accountable. You know that, like, Joe Douglas holds himself accountable, Sam Darnold holds himself accountable, but no one ever fucking holds the head coach accountable, right? And the thing is, like everybody knows, everybody knows
he's the Don.
Everybody,
he's the Don.
Exactly, wants to touch him. And everybody knows that fucking football is a coach's league, right? And so if Joe Douglas is our football guy, in the sense, like, does he not fucking realize that this is a coach's league? Like, at some point, like, you gotta. I mean, again, it's just like, yeah, you can't fucking throw him under the bus, but it's you gotta at least show some signs of, like, yeah, I'm not completely sold on him. You can't be like, yeah, he's the greatest fucking coach ever. Like, so just be like, yeah, you know what? Like, I got to draft better. Sam Darnold's got to play better. The coach's got to, just something like big like that. But the fact that he doesn't do anything remotely close to that is, to me, is like, and again,
the same
like,
level
with his whole like.
The same level of accountability that he had, the same level of accountability that he had with himself. I wish he had that approach with Adam Gase, because that wouldn't be throwing him under the bus. It would just be stating the obvious, that we've all done a terrible job, which he said to a certain degree. But going forward, we should all be evaluated based on what we do from going forward here on out. We should all be on the hot seat. Nobody should, feel comfortable with their job. We should all be, under the process of being evaluated by ownership right now, because what we've done to this point has not been good enough. So any questions directly about Adam Gase, that's what you say. The same way that he held himself accountable for his own failures, I don't know why Adam Gase is immune to getting any of that criticism.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing would have to be that, again, either he's made, like, Adam Gase is the actual guy in charge, or the fact that, Adam Gase got Joe Douglas a job and he just can't talk anything bad about it, which is fucking insane, because you're literally you're mortgaging your whole future on Adam Gase and hoping he does a good job. Because if he doesn't, which in this case he's not, then everybody's going to go after you, since apparently the coach is fucking untouchable. But by the way that you're making it seem. And then just another really quick point is just, like, how fucking fitting is it the one year that we have the potential to sweep the Patriots is the one year that we don't want to fucking do it. That if we even get 1 or 2 wins, we're gonna fuck it. Like, it's so fucking Jets, even when the year that we finally, fuck the Patriots, they might be just as bad, if not worse than us. Like, it's fucking brutal, man. Like, can I just say really quickly, like, I work at the NFL Network. My job is to, like, watch all the Jets games and log them, and it's been fucking painful,
I feel
man.
bad for you, man.
When I started, man, I was so excited. I'm like, hell, because I'm in Los Angeles, like, we don't get any of the Jets games. We always get, like, the Chargers or the Rams. So for me to actually get the Jets games live, and the funny thing is, like, I started muting the game broadcast, and I follow along with you guys during the game, during the live stream, because I just can't fucking watch it. And, like, you guys honestly bring so much, like, there's so many times where I want to smash the computer, but, like, I'm like, I can't, because this isn't my computer. Like, I'm gonna get sued if I do. But yeah, man, it's just so fucking Jets that even in a year that, like, the Patriots fucking blow, that we can't win. Because if we win, then we fuck ourselves over. I don't know. Just a thought.
Ivan, thanks for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
well
man. Have a good
man.
one, man.
Fuck
the Jets. Have a good one.
Prime time. Quick thoughts, man.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything different that I haven't said all night. We're all looking to, criticize Joe Douglas at this point. He didn't really say anything crazy today, but just not happy with, the fact that it does seem like Adam Gase is part of the solution going forward. Didn't like hearing that, but everything else, again, he was accountable for it. He owned it. So this is the first step towards moving forward. I still have some faith, some belief in Joe Douglas to, get this thing turned around and get it right. But I just hope and pray to God that he gets rid of the head coach, or at least puts it in ownership's ear to get rid of the head coach.
Thank you to all the great callers tonight. We definitely appreciate it. We'll be live on YouTube shortly, and we're also going to be Friday night live stream, Monday night live stream. Check it out. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
Later.